Alright everybody, welcome back to a video hot off the weekend from the local qualifier at Game Universe in Franklin, Wisconsin, suburb of Milwaukee. I'm coming back with a first place win. Yay me. Just to talk about the deck and talk about the day. Um, Good matches all around. I went 3-1 in Swiss. I'll go through the matches. I played, I guess I'll go through the deck and then talk about the matches, or we'll just kind of bounce around because I usually don't like script these things. So we'll talk about the deck. So Ymir has been in my back pocket probably since, obviously since AOT1. I've done a couple deck profiles on her. This is the most recent iteration of her that I have on Ultra. Which may or may not be a lie. I may have an updated version of this already. But she just does cool things, right? Like she does the transforming thing. That's cool. She can gain back a bunch of health. That's also fun. And it's a really cool mini game of how much health you can gain in an attack turn. She has defense on her face. She has tons of offense on her face. So basically, how I took my idea for this deck is that she's all the offense. Her and the attacks are all the offense you kind of need. And then you stack your deck with defense and life gain. And then you just go to the races. Eventually, you will just get there because your rival can only have so many cards to block, and your attacks are going to be doing like 12 to 15 damage by the end of the attack string. And sometimes you just kill them with the last attack doing like 30 or whatever. But I didn't have numbers that big. But she is a very good, even like her front side's very dangerous. If you disrespect her offense, she could just nuke you for just 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage, with the right attacks in hand. And that farm where you get to build the foundation from your card pool is fantastic on turn 2 because you can play a little bit of a more riskier build instead of, you can always just build on 3s instead of building on maybe you can build like a 0, a 2, a 2, a 2. Like you would normally just build a 2, a 2, a 1, a 0, and then try the rest. But you can go a 2, a 2, a 2, a 1, a 1, 0, and you just build on 4. You can still build on 3s, but you get the extra foundation or whatever. So she allows you to defend a little better on turn 2 by going second. Just to be able to just have. You get an extra card, so you have 8 cards in hand. You auto build one, and if you build certain cards, you replenish your hand. So let's go ahead and get into the attacks. The main symbol is life. She has a life, fire and life. But we're main symbol life. So we're playing 3 Rejuvenate Smash. This card is great on both modes, on offense and defense. It's really great popping out a foundation, transforming into your Jaw Titan, and then gaining the 2. So you get an activation of health gain, and getting extra card draw. Also on defense, you can sneak out some extra points of health and extra cards if you need them. The one thing I think the deck probably needs to maybe 1 or 2 more cards is something with like a discard outlet. We do have Shameless Haggler in the deck. But maybe like a Pro 7 number 7 Pro Hero or another Shameless Haggler in the deck, just to give us 3 pieces of discard, just so we can get that top deck to our momentum. Next up is Instant Shining Flash at 2 copies. This is great offense. Again, great offense and great defense. It's a +1 low block. It makes your next card one easier to play on offense. Also, it's really the only momentum hate we have in the deck. Life does struggle with some momentum hate. There are a few pieces, I believe in AOT1, that is like a flip. You flip it and you discard one of your rival's momentums. I mean, there's just better spam to play, I guess, if we really needed to play it. But with all the defense packed into the deck, and we do play Idun Box as a reset, and we do play Evading Copy for those EX and those fast speedy guys in our board, so we don't really have to worry about too much speed, like EX hate in a way. But yeah, But yeah, this is a really good piece. It's been great since AOT1, since MHA1. You can't complain about it. It's never a bad time to see this card unless your rival's playing all mids, or all highs. So yeah. Next up is 2 copies of Tetra Terror Onslaught. It's our only attack that it's one of our 2 attacks that lose health as a cost to help us gain extra health during our attack turn with Jaw Titan. It has an echo keyword, which is kind of relevant because you can end up losing 6 health to gain 6 damage if you're able to. Also, this demands a block because your rival doesn't want you to get a Midst of Despair, a Besieged, or an entering the Titan Forest if it's later game. Just because they just don't want you to get more cards in hand to attack, because the more attacks Ymir gets, the bigger attacks we get. But yeah, this is a great one. It also is an 8 high for 4 on the Echo, which is fantastic on Jaw Titan. Next up is 3 copies of Midst of Despair. Also, going back, Tetra Terror Onslaught was the worst attack in the deck yesterday at all, hands down. But I know, right? Like, Tetra Terror Onslaught's really good in the deck, and it was considered the worst attack all day. Midst of Despair, this is the premium SR, I believe, out of AOT1. We're gaining health, right? So it's going to get the 3 speed. With Jaw Titan, it becomes a 7-speed move for 6+ damage. It's fantastic. Also, if your rival takes damage, your next card ignores progressive difficulty, so you can chain these into, entering the Titan Forest, maybe a rejuvenating smash with a bunch of EX on it, or even defeating the Colossal Titan is just a beating at the end of a chain. Next up, out of Origins of Power, Attack Titan's Haymaker. This card did not disappoint. It performed admirably. The Blitz came in handy. I was playing against, I'll go over my matches, but I was playing against an Aaron 1 on Death that had Combined Firepower in his discard pile, and he removed a card and he called Combined Firepower, and I said, okay. And then he attempted to block with it, and I go, you can't block with that because it's a 1 or less. It's 2 or less. You can't block with it. So I got like 8 free damage out of that because of that Blitz. The stun's great. The mill 1 on the backside does help out if we start, like, I've started plenty of attack turns under 10, and then I go over 10. So getting some free damage if your rival can't block, or it helps you push more in the later attacks, because a lot of the times they will attempt to try to DR you or block your later attacks, and so this punishes their not blocking. It makes them block the early attacks, so the late attacks get them. It performed as I thought it would. It was fantastic. 2 copies of Besieged. This card's crazy in Ymir, dropping it at the end of a chain on a 3 after a Midst of Despair, or on a 7 where it's getting +6 damage, and then they have to have a block modifier +3 or greater to block it. It usually is hits. I would say about 8 times out of 10, they just take the damage. I did rip off the Deadlock Blitz a couple times yesterday, so that on Saturday, so I was able to get the extra 4 damage. It did help me chunk down Recovery Girl in one of my matchups, so that was great. Next up is 3 copies of Overhead Reversal. We like to build when we attack, so this is it's just the +3 high block hurts. So it's not a 4x, but it does build one of our many zeros out of the discard pile committed, so we can play there was one game where if I would have sequenced my attack, my Ymir form right, and this, I flip on turn 2 after taking like 6 damage on their turn 2, and I probably would have killed them if I would have done that properly. 1x of defeating the Colossus Titan, this probably can go to a 2 of, but I just don't know what to take out for it. Maybe a Tetra Terror, and then we just play a 3rd instant Shining Flash, which probably wouldn't be a bad idea. But the lose X health, and you can lose 5 health for 5 speed, and if you're Jaw Titan and you've gained like 7 health and you lose 5 health, and then you gain 7 speed basically on Blitz, and then sometimes when you play this card, you're not going to be at less than half. of your maximum health, just because you're gaining health. This is usually like the kill shot, but I did lead a turn with this and dropped myself under half, got the extra damage, had the extra speed. They had to block it because it was like a 12. It was 5 plus 2, 7. It was a 13 high for like 12. So they had to speed hate it and then block it, which allowed me to play the next 3 attacks to kill them. Because if I would have sequenced it differently, I don't think I'd get there because they block the slower stuff easier. And then this maybe pushes for 12 damage, and I won't be able to do too much. And a late addition to the deck, I added these in like Thursday, Friday night. I went to a 1 to a 2. Entering the Titan Forest. We want more draw. I always like drawing cards on offense. This gives us some more. It gives us some fake deadlock pressure. So if our rival has 9 or more, we get 4 damage, and then we get to draw 2 cards. And then if we're Jaw Titan, it's a 6 mid for, let's say, 8, and then whatever our damage is, and it has EX. So if we're able to get some momentum and pump the EX, it's like a secondary kill card. It can just get huge fast. But one cool thing in Ymir is that with your health gain and everything, almost every card in your deck can be a kill card because you're stacking 4 to 8 damage on everything, and it's great. Into the assets action slot, I didn't play any actions because I just don't think Life's actions are great right now. There's a few good ones, but I just don't see them. They just don't make the cut, in my opinion. We got an Idun box. I only play 1. I don't side any more copies, obviously, and then it's just, if we see it, we see it. We don't, we don't. It's just one of those cool cards that, hey man, if we see it, great. If not, no worries. It's just there if we need it. Now into some of the more heavily needed foundations. 4 copies of Immortal Shapeshifter. I would argue Brief Respite is probably just as important because you sack 1, you sacrifice a foundation to gain 1 with Brief Respite, and then you can respond with this. So Brief Respite's great on defense. This is better on offense. But I think I still would like Brief Respite. I usually used Brief Respite more than Immortal because I'd use Brief Respite, check the 5, and then if I didn't get it, I would blow up another foundation to get a damage and then check a 5. There were multiple turns where I'd actually, if I checked a 3, I would pay for it because I knew I could just either ready the card later or I can destroy it with Immortal or Brief and just get more value out of it. Next up is 4 copies of new training method. This is probably hands down the best foundation in the deck. On turn 2, you slap one of these down, you form, you auto build one, and then you just build, pass your turn. I've had games where I going first, turn 2, I've built 7 and still had a card in hand to block because I picked up a foundation with new training method to block. So you almost have like, and then you have another card in hand because you're an 8 hand size character or whatever. But yeah, it's very cool. It's a very neat piece of tech. It extends your hand defensively or offensively to build to get to that number 9. That number 9 range. I have not played against a Burt 2 deck, and I have a feeling that would be a very, very weird matchup because you have to shift in the middle of your turn. Like you can't just build to 8. You can't just build to 9 and pass. You have to be able to shift in the middle of your turn because he's just going to nuke your board. He'll nuke you down to 3, and then you're just back to square one. But a good thing about this deck is that if he does debuild you down to 3, Ymir builds one, and then with your form on your front side, you could kind of get back very fast to that 7, 8, 9 range to flip back to Jaw Titan. But you do have a small window. Like you may have to apply a lot of pressure to get cards out of his hand before that. But the good thing is though, once Burt 2 flips, his defense kind of sucks because he has no defense on face. And so he's stuck with the cards he has in his hand. So all he's doing is really surviving on his health total at that time. Next up is 2 copies of Wild Wild Pussycats. This was a 3x. I dropped it down to a 2x just because I wanted to add some other cards in there. Like same old field rations, capture the target, keeping Airy safe. But this is one of the great cards in the deck that we just auto build with Ymir, flip, get more cards in our hand. Also, the block with an echo, after you block an attack, with this card, attack loses Echo, actually came in handy this Saturday. I'll get into it later. Incredible Display, 2x, probably should be a 3 to a 4, but deck space. Like, we could probably figure it out, but I kind of like the mix of foundations. We do have 4 copies of New Training Methods, so technically those can be extra copies of Incredible Display. If we check it use on like a Mortal Shapeshifter, or we just check it naturally, we can grab it with the New Training Method. 1x Macho Concealment, cancels foundations, enhances. It's great. That's all it does. It's very good. 2 copies of Vast Strength. After an attack is played, it loses all non-keyword abilities. It stops stuff like, you know, when we're in Deadlock, it stops Focused Attack. It stops, you know, Determined Advance from not being able to go below printed and speed and damage, you know, stuff like that. 3x copies of Pro Hero number 10, one of the best zeros in the game. Another Syndicate target, another best zero in the game, the best zero block in the game unless you're at 1 health, which we're never at 1 health because we're always gaining health. Fast Friendship at a 3x, flip -2 speed. If we have more face downs, -3 speed. We like flips because we can also commit them later to pass checks. One of the cool pieces in the deck where it's the flip discard for Rejuvenating Smash, draw a card, gain 2. This card offensively really puts your rival in a pickle because they don't want you to draw 2, gain 4. It happened a couple times on Saturday where my rival let me draw another card and gain 2 more, which actually I was able to draw another attack and just be able to play pressure. It was great. 2 copies of High Value Target. Counts as 2 as blocking, which is fantastic. Also, if before one of your foundations would be destroyed due to a rival effect, we can destroy that. It doesn't stop Bert from nuking things because it still destroys it, so we still pick 3, unfortunately. But if, like, it said flip, that would be sick, right? But it doesn't. 3 copies of Resting Up, -2 speed, but if we're committed, which on Jaw Titan, we commit for -3 speed, or we usually pass checks with if we're on our front side, we'll pass checks later to pass foundations with Ymir, so we're usually committed to get the -3 speed. 2 copies of Brief Respite, Sacrifice Foundation, gain a health. It's probably one of the top 5 foundations in the deck. 3 copies of Keeping Area Safe. We don't like being stunned. We want defensive card draw or offensive card draw because when does our rival never play character ability? Like, we draw so many extra cards with this card. Like, Curious About Quirks is one of the probably top 10 foundations in the game right now. 2 copies of Same Old Field Rations. This card put in major work. There were times where I would ready this with a Brief Respite, and then my rival had 10 or more foundations, so I'd ready this and an Incredible Display. I was able to do that multiple times against a Rodan deck with Evading Copy. I was able to block multiple times with the same Evading Copy. And it also doesn't say that it hasn't been ready this turn. So granted, you only get, so if you have multiple Same Old Field Rations, you can ready the same card over and over again, as long as you have Same Old Field Rations. And then a late edition set Friday night was 2 Capture the Target. I had 2 a couple times and it felt fine, but I think it could really just be a 1x. If we have 3 or more attacks in our card pool, ready this foundation. Often the only time we're going to have 3 or more attacks in our card pool is when we're really pushing for the kill. But yeah, having, I think 1's fine, and I think maybe bumping up Shameless or adding in a Pro Hero number 7 to activate the Rejuve Smash Enhance might be worth trying. We got Throw Hate, Speed Hate, and Zone Change, and Face Shield for more Throw Hate. So getting into my matchups. I know the video is running a little long, guys, but I have to get my notes out because, yeah, notes are important. Boop. So ended the day 3-1. First match was against a Monoma 2 Life. It was basically trying to do the same things as me, but I did my deck better. I did the deck better, according to them. I didn't flip Ymir until they copied my front side. I was not going to give them the Jaw Titan. So I was just like, I'll just kill them on 2 damage over and over again. I built into Deadlock both games. They had little to no Deadlock pressure, so it didn't really matter. it just ended up being that I was able to outvalue them because my deck did its thing better than their deck, and they were basically a lose one, gain two, build one character when I was a 2-speed, million damage, and -3 speed on face. Moving on to round 2, I played a death. It was, like I said earlier, Aaron 1 death deck. It was one of the casino decks. It's still very good and potent. It's just lost a lot of like pushing power with no Twisting Azure Inferno and no risky encounter. But the deck's still dangerous just because it is a combined firepower deck. So it ended up being where I win game 1 pretty decidedly, and then game 2 he built 4, I want to say, and then he had this 5 to 6 attack turn where he ended on defeating the Colossal Titan, and I was just like, that's sick, dude. I die. So we'll just go to game 3. And game 3 kind of came down to this point in the game where I had like 3 cards in hand. I had like a half a stage. Maybe I had like 7 or 8 foundations. And he was pushing and pushing. And then like this I think it was like his 3rd or his 4th attack. It's his 3rd attack. He plays Lizard Tail Splitter. It has Deadlock Echo because I'm in Deadlock. And I have a wild, but he doesn't know that I don't think he knows I have a Wild Pussycats in hand, and I block with Wild and strip Echo off of it. And so he can't attack again because he had the momentum, which would have allowed him to play one more attack then the next attack would have killed me because I wouldn't have been able to survive it. Like I'd be able to partial it, but I wouldn't be able to live through it, right? So, but I ended up to wipe the Echo off, and then he put me to he put me to low health. I just came back and back swung him. I had all the attacks in hand. Then round 3 was the matchup that I was probably the most worried about. Was against an all Rodon, all mids deck. I went 1 and 2. I lost to it in 3 games. Game 1, I disrespected the offense. I don't know why. I've played all Rodon for many weeks, and I'm like, that deck can just nuke people out of nowhere. And I just disrespected it. I didn't hold a low block. I didn't hold a mid, so I got punished for that. And I learned my lesson. But then game 2, I came back, tied the matchup, and then game 3, he had this really, really sick turn where I didn't side anything against him because I wanted to see how the deck did. Non-siding. I know it's dumb to do that in a actual event, but I wanted to see what the deck could do without sideboard tech, right? And then I learned my lesson. Like I died to a 4 attack string, and I just died because I was later game. He was able to push through a couple attacks, and then like a focus attack got me for like 15. And I'm just like, well, okay, cool, you got me. So, then round 4, I played against a Recover Girl on good. I had played Recover Girl on water, sub life, the week before at their other location, and came in second. And so I was like, okay, well, I think Ymir probably has a really good matchup because Ymir can just, like, sure, you're going to get a couple foundations in, like with her 4 to 6 damage moves, and then you have to start respecting her 10 damage moves, her 12 damage moves, because Recovery Girl loves people who just poke. She doesn't like it when you chunk. So game 1 was a slog. It was like 35 minutes. I end up coming through by making, pushing through always cool activation. So I was killing them. I was chunking them down on printed damage. And then it ended up being that they used all their momentum on last second rescue and a cheerleader, I believe. And then I was able just to be able to chunk them down a little at a time by just going 4, because they just kept bringing back always cools. So I was just like 4, and just murdered. So, and then game 2, I sighted in all my throw hate, my last second dodges, my face shields, and then they couldn't touch me because they were just like, well, Spirit Gun Mega. I was like, face shield, and then, or I'd make this attack lose throw, or they would be afraid to give their attack throw because I had last second dodge on the field, so they didn't want to just blow up 2 foundations for me to say no. You know, it doesn't make any sense. Sure, you know, and then so I come in 3rd place, which is sick because I needed to win an in. So I win game 1. Game 2, it goes down to like 4 or 5 minutes, and the player just concedes because they can't kill me because they had to push through their one turn. They tried to push. They got bodied by a face shield. They got a last second dodge, and I had one more face shield in hand. So I wasn't going to die, and then I was just gonna backswing them because they just were just playing kind of reckless because they had to kill me to tie. So I come in third. I get the run back against the All Rodan. It's a very good back and forth games 1 and game 2. Game 3 comes down to a misplay by the Rodan player. They stack their deck, they pass. I go block, and then they play the focused attack. That wouldn't kill me, but if they draw the attack they checked, they probably play that and then the focused attack. That probably gets there. I did have one more block in hand, so there was a chance, whatever, I could possibly do it. But yeah, they checked a 3 on a 7. They committed out their 4 foundations, and you know it sucks. That stuff happens. You don't want to lose to a misplay. I'll take the gift of a win every now and then. It just felt bad, like, for my buddy who did that, because he was setting it up, he just forgot to draw. It happens. Like, we get tunnel vision. I've done it multiple times with Rodan. I just forget to draw the card, and I'm like, oh crap, this sucks. But yeah, so I backswung him and won. And then finals was me against Mimic on Chaos that I faced the week prior with Recovery Girl. This deck is crazy. It is like a 10 attack, like maybe 10 to 15 foundations and a million assets. He opens up game 1. He gets to go first. He's first seed. He opens up game 1 with 3 Knots Flasks. And I'm like, wow, that sucks for me. Because I bored all my throw hate. Let's just say, guys, game 1 was only 8 minutes. I died very fast. I tried to get him I tried to kill him on turn 2. I had 4 attacks in hand, and if I would have, and like there was some weird mathing that if it happened, I had the damage. I had 25 damage. I also needed him not to interact with me, which wouldn't have happened, right? Because we just don't. Our rival isn't just going to let us there and push our buttons and just go, I'm just going to take the damage, right? So good on him for interacting. Game 2, I boarded in all my throw hate. I boarded it all in, and I won game 2. And then game 3 was kind of more of the same, that they just couldn't get around the throw hate and the face shields, and then me just gaining my health back. So once I was able to like stabilize, I was able to just regain a lot of my health back. Even on their turn, I was brief respiting to just activate Immortal to gain back health and ready like same old field rations to ready that, and then just have ways to block, take half damage, like take 8, gain back 5 on my next turn, right? So yeah, so we ended up getting there in game 3, which was great. It was a great win, a great tournament. It was a lot of fun. I don't know, hopefully, I know Ymir's on everyone's list, man, but like she's definitely at the top of mine. I'm having a lot of fun playing this character. I like the moves. I like the deck overall. I like the defense. I like the offense. There's nothing a whole lot wrong with it. So I think we're just really waiting for the December ban and errata list to see if anything happens, which I don't think anything should happen to her. Maybe outside a damage cap of like 5. I think 5's fine. Like five damage and a lot of moves is still really good. So maybe a damage cap. But yeah, like yeah, so that's it. Let me know how you guys did at your local qualifiers this week and weekend, or ones coming up. We got one more at Boar's Hat Games on the 27th, the day before Thanksgiving. We're having a pizza party, which is very awesome. Also, it's in preparation for our December 7th Origins of Power case event. There will be a big graphic that pops up on the screen right here, so check that out. If you guys are in the area, please come out and come support the store. Stan and Todd do the Lord's work for our game. They are very, very supportive. They love the community, and they love the action that happens at the shop. So that's all I got, everyone. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to share this in all your groups. And until the next video, take care.